Hello and welcome back to GPVWC Superlights. Welcome to round 13 of the 2024 season, and we are heading to one of the trickiest tracks on the calendar. We are here in virtual Azerbaijan, the Baku City Street Circuit, for what could be potentially a championship-defining day. You join myself, Ross McIntyre, alongside me, as always, is Super League race winner Carlos Martin. Carlos, pleasure to have you back with us here as we're about to get underway with our qualifying session. Should be a very, very interesting race, this one, because Baku, well, it always serves up a little bit of chaos.
Yes, definitely. It serves a lot of chaos, and it serves a lot of tire wear as well, and it serves a lot of overtaking as well. So we have the perfect combination here for a lot of overtaking during the race and a lot of action. The drivers will tend to wait for the turn one overtake because there is no rush. It is pretty easy and simple to do it. And that's why qualifying here is not so important, but it's still really relevant because it will still matter in terms of your own safety. Your own safety here, it will be important because we've seen in the past big pileups, especially in SL2.
Absolutely. We'll have to wait and see what the racing is going to give us. But we're in qualifying right now. Laps just getting underway. We're currently following Maxime Bueller. Big congratulations to Maxime. Got announced last week. And they're going to be continuing on with Fusion Racing here in Superlights into 2025. So big congratulations to the Canadian. Looking forward to some more fireworks next season. And hopefully looking for a good qualifying tonight as well to put a cap on that big announcement. Again, I did say championship defining day. We could see both championship wrapped up here tonight. Drivers' Championship, very unlikely to go. Alex Laho has to win. Hope Sandeep Singh doesn't finish, or at least doesn't finish in the points. And then Denny's champion, Jack Mayer, to stay in the picture, needs to outscore Alex Laho and Sandeep Singh significantly. Constructors' Championship-wise, though, it's basically done and dusted. Road to Formula can pick it up here with a very average result, so they'll be looking to celebrate here. But again, it's all eyes on the drivers as well. Maybe the Frenchman can pick it up here today as well. It's purple in Sector 1 from Maxime Beaulieu. Again, that'll show up for everybody as well on the first lap. So we've not got no real gauge of what the lap time is early doors. But as Maxime makes their way to the final sector, flat out blast now. Just turn in. Try not to rub as much speed off the front end of the car as you can. Foot to the floor. And pray the drag gods are on your side. You've got enough engine power behind you. Again, private qualifying as always here in GPVWC. Here at Baku, probably a bit more of an issue than it was at Monza last time out. Of course, you get big slipstreams at both these circuits. Baku, you've got that huge front straight, which isn't quite a straight, but you're flat out for well over a kilometre. But you're running a little bit of a higher downforce setup here than you are at Monza, due to the tight and twisty Sector 2s and half Sector 1 as well, the second half of it anyway. So unlike Monza, where we saw, you know, Alessandro Maggio from pole early on in the race break away from the pack a little bit, I don't think we'll be seeing that here today. I think it is very much going to be that qualifying on pole may not be the godsend that you would perhaps wish. Alex Laho, championship leader, currently sat on provisional pole position, 140.186. He's a tenth and a half clear of everybody else. But it's still early doors in this qualifying session, so still plenty of opportunity for things to change. Hello and welcome if you are just joining us. Round 13 of 16 in the GPVWC 2024 Superlights season. Myself, Ross McIntyre, Carlos Martin in the commentary booth alongside me. Carlos, of course, you'll be racing here on Thursday. Talk us through a lap of Baku.
Well, the lap of Baku is really complicated. I think the most important thing is to carry on good speed for a good exit. Braking really hard into the corner can settle the momentum, even though the downforce is still a bit higher, or even some teams might try even going same downforce as Monza. The car will be heavily unsettled, and it's really important to carry on this speed. So being a bit lighter on the brakes, anticipate the corner, and have a great exit. So through turn 3, turn 4, attack a lot the curbs. We see Michal Galka right now, he's not attacking enough the curbs. We will see that the top drivers in the timesheets will be attacking constantly the curbs more than Galka is doing right now. And I expect that for the race as well, and that's something that can make you do a big mistake. And as we can see from a bit of analysis right now from the first laps, we can see Faidok is way slower in the straights compared to Alex and Maggio. He is currently 7 kph lower than them right now. And Alex actually lost 5 tenths to Faidok in the first sector, same as Maggio. So they either did a mistake, both of them, in sector 1, which is with a long straight one, or they either will lack this grip in sector 1, as Faidok is actually showing today to us. I expect them now to maybe pole to be 39.7, 39.6 from either Alex or Maggio. What we saw from the practice session, it was that they were clear on the rest. It is important, these P3 and P4 results, even though they will be a bit further off from Alex and Maggio, it will be still really meaningful. As we see, Alex Lehoux going for a lap, still with this special livery from Road to Formula. I'm not sure if they are gonna keep it for the rest of the season or they actually forgot to actually change the livery. So we see him starting in this really long straight of Baku. Baku is one of the tracks with a lot of brake issues because here you can pull the brakes very much, but not so much in the in-castle section. So we see him going through turn 1, going for a nice exit in 4th gear, heading into turn 2, early braking, heading into the apex, a slight touching the curb, a bit of lacking traction as we see Herlock right now, P1 improving the lap time from Alex, Fidok and Maggio, heading into turn 3, carrying good speed, a bit wide so that the exit is not perfect, and now heading into turn 4, not enough curb if he wants to be the fastest today. Heading into the chicane, into sector 2, also very little chicane, I think, very little curb. I think maybe Road to Formula is using a stiffer setup for this round. Heading into the castle section, he is actually improving sector 1 from Joseph Herlock, almost hitting the wall like Yuri Bips did in Formula 2, and then he goes out. You want to carry on, good exit here. Heading into the last corner of sector 2, last braking zone better said. Here you want to brake also really early, attack a lot the curb and have a good exit. As he has a very poor exit from it, suffering a bit of traction issues, the Road to Formula not the best setup from them, as he also struggles at the exit of the first corner of sector 3. So this is not gonna be the greatest laps from Alex Lehoux right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Alex Lehoux pulling into the pits and abandoning this one. Currently sat second on the timing screens. He is going to go and complete the lap. Fair play, may as well. Actually, I take it all back. He's going to dive straight into the pit lane, as you'd expect. David Fidok, currently in P3, starting another lap. Let's see what he can do. Must be said, Joseph Herlock, that's a very, very strong lap time, as Alessandro Maggio, pole sitter last time, now goes to provisional pole, makes it a Valley Esports 1-2. Valley Esports put a lot of upgrades on that car over the last few weeks. Arguably the fastest car out on the racetrack. Certainly I'd say last weekend, this weekend looking like similar. Sandeep Singh struggling down in P11 for Road to Formula. And the Red Ven car as well looking pretty tasty. Thomas Kutka I think had a mistake on his first lap. But to Oliver Tara, should I say, in P6, David Fidok as well in P4, Yandra Goon in P5. Some very, very strong lap times being put on here. As there is Thomas Harvey. He's jumped in the Spark Racing car this weekend in place of Vincent Gutt. Great to have Thomas with us. Giuseppe Saracino also joining us this weekend for PZZW. But he abandons that lap straight into the pit lane. And that's Alexander Ragotza without a rear wing. I mean, he's going to make it back, so that's not too much of an issue. Looks like some suspension damage there. Of course, if you can make it back to the pit lane in qualifying, no matter the damage you have, you're free to get it repaired and go back out. It's just that if in the qualifying or the race sessions, you hit the escape key on your keyboard, that teleports you back to your pit box. If you do that in qualifying or the race, that is classed as a DNF. In qualifying, the second you're in the pit lane, you are allowed to hit escape. That's fine. Not allowed to do that in the race. Warm-up practice, you can hit it whenever you want. Again, ideally, you want to make it back to the pit lane to get repairs on the car and get back out there. That's great to see that Goetz is going to be able to do that. There's Thomas Kutka, a very, very close brush with the wall indeed there, as he ran up to the exit of the corner. But he's going to be okay to continue on by the looks of things. Looks to be pretty nice weather here in Baku at the moment. Balmy 47-degree track temperature, 26-degree ambient temperature for this track, which is just a smidge over 6 kilometers or 3 3/4 miles in old money. Unfortunately for Thomas Cook, that mistake down in sector 1 as he gets very, very close to the wall once again, costing him a lot of time. Wonder if Cook pushing just a little bit too hard. But Carlos Martin, as we saw last time out in Monza, in qualifying at least, it looks like it's Valley Esports and Alessandro Maggio who have the pace.
Yeah, Valley definitely they found something. It's not only the car upgrades, they seem to work harder right now. They are doing a great job as a driver, as a team. and obviously in the development they also improved. This is very important in Superlights, where if you do a mistake it takes a lot of time to actually recover, as we see Alex Lehoux going to try to finish the lap. I'm not sure if he's gonna be happy to finish this lap, because even though if he improves, he's not gonna improve position, and if he goes to the pit lane right now he will have the chance to do another attempt. So we will see if now he's heading into the pits. Very likely, yeah, I think by the position of his car he's heading into the pits. We will have another shot to improve that lap time, as we see Remco de Zeeuw going for a really strong lap time here. We can see he's only 2/10 off from the actual pole sitting lap time. Remco, who has had not the best of seasons right now. He has had one podium at Imola when the incidents happened, and right now he's going for a great position. He's going for a P7. This is great news for Fusion Racing. As you mentioned before, they announced they're both drivers for next season, and that looks like a happy family team, and that's what you want if you want to keep improving. So we see Perseus Miriam going for P21 right now, 141.88, and the PZZW is not the best of cars, and this shows. We see Saracino, who has been a really fast driver over the years in GPVWC, and he's 6/10 of the pace. So it shows how important it is to actually do good choices and to manage the team in the proper way. It takes everything into account in Superlights. So we see Sandeep Singh going for a really nice lap, just 18 thousandths shy from Sector 1 from Maggio. So he needs to really finish this lap because he will not have another attempt, and he's currently sitting in P11. We saw him struggling at Monza as well in the qualifying. Actually, I think he started P10 or P11 as well. He's 3/10 off right now in Sector 2. That will put him around P7. So he really wants to finish this lap. It will be some improvement, probably not what he expects from it, because if he wants to keep his championship hopes alive, he really needs to outscore today to Alex. Otherwise, the chances are shrinking for him, as he finishes the lap P9. Wow, and that will be qualifying over for Sandeep Singh right now. And that's another race where he will need to build back the ground he lost in qualifying.
That's a real shame there for Sandeep Singh, unless he's got enough tyre left on to go for another one. Looks like he is still pushing, to be fair, so we'll have a look at the lap times when he comes to the sector splits. But he struggled the last few rounds in qualifying, has the team boss over at Road to Formula. And, well, seemingly again today just not quite clicking again. We know that the Road to Formula is no longer the out and out fastest car on the racetrack, as the checkered flag is out and it's yellow in Sector 1 and slow through the right hander there. Thomas Harvey, 2 personal best sectors for him as he flies down the, well, not quite a front straight. Now it is the front straight. Let's see what the Spark Racing driver can do. Of course, stepping in this weekend. Can he put in a solid enough lap time all the way to the wall, try and get the thinnest air possible? Oh, a great final sector. Puts him up into P6. That's a wonderful lap from Thomas Harvey. Alessandro Maggio, though. Purple in the middle sector. Can he do it for the second week in a row? To the line comes the Magic Man, and it is going to be provisional pole for Alessandro Maggio. Not confirmed yet because Joseph Ehrlich is also on a barnstorming lap. Can he upset the apple cart and misplace the Italian at the top of the timing sheet? To the line comes the Englishman. What's it going to be for Ehrlich? It's going to be second. A disappointing final sector. And that just means that Alex Lehoux... Oh, well, Alex Lehoux done it by thousandths of a second, hasn't he?
Wow.
Unreal. Alex Lehoux, once again, has snatched victory from the jaws of P3. Unbelievable lap time from the Frenchman. Jack Mayer crosses the line, unfortunately, can only improve to P8. But Alex Laho, talk about leaving it to the last minute. What a special lap that was.
Well, it was definitely a very interesting one until the very end. I think all the drivers will agree in the interviews that they had not their best quali attempt. Actually, their practice lap times were way faster than this one. They were 3/10 faster than this. But well, at the end, this is what it takes into account. Maybe the grip just went down. The track temperature, as you mentioned before, it is really, really, really high with 48 degrees on tarmac. And now the most important thing, it comes the race, and the tires actually give up really, really, really fast, and they will need to manage them a lot. So a lot of opportunities are coming. This P1, definitely for Alex, it is important. You are safe from the possible chaos of the race, but you are definitely not done.
Well then, Alex Laho at the death snatches pole position from the pole sitter last time out, Alessandro Maggio, Joseph Herlock in P3 with David Feinok in P4. Jan Dragoon, great qualifying for the Czech driver. He's in P5 with Thomas Harvey. What a great performance from him for the Spark Racing squad into P6. Oliver Taras was 7th with Jack May in P8. Renko de Jus P9. And Sandeep Singh only able to get P10. I mean, if they finish in the exact order they start in, it means that Alex Laho won't be champion, but it's essentially putting one hand on the trophy for the Frenchman. That's your top 10 anyway in this qualifying session. Matthews Pijkam in P11 with Giuseppe Saracino in P12. Alexander Ragota was 13th with Maxime Bulio P14. Dominic Koroshavin, the Ukrainian, puts in a solid effort to get P15. He's followed by Jan Sikora. Florian Guy also apparently P16. He'll be P17 in reality with Tom van der Voort in P18. Thomas Cook will be P19 and Michelle Galka will round out our top 20 drivers on the grid with Davide Zanini in P21 and Purgis Miram in P22 and Chris Gitzoff and Florian Guy, who did not set a lap in qualifying, they will be forming the final row, making up 24 cars here at the Baku City Circuit. 42 laps then await us. Separated, of course, between that and our qualifying session. We've got our warm-up as well, so just 10 minutes for the drivers to go out, have a play, make sure the setup's working all right. Last few chats with the engineers and get some race running done, get some race practice in, maybe a practice start as well. It's not a very long run down into turn 1, but it's very, very wide on the entry to that 90-degree left-hander. You can definitely make a lot of ground and lose a lot of ground if you get it right or wrong. So lap 1, turn 1, absolutely crucial. Probably lap 1 at any racetrack is crucial, to be fair. Perhaps none more so than here at Baku. We've got that deadly castle section to negotiate with. You can barely fit one race car through there, let alone several. So that should be interesting to see how the drivers deal with it on lap number 1. But as always, we've been very clean here this season on the opening laps of races in GPVWC Superlights. So hopefully more of that today. Hello and welcome if you are just joining us to the 13th round of the 2024 GPVWC Superlight season. Of course, the second tier of the GPVWC career pyramid, and in my opinion, the best series on the GPVWC career pyramid. But according to our metrics, the least watched series in the GPVWC career pyramid. What's going on there then? All of the action we've had all season long and no one's tuning in. Unbelievable. But a pleasure to bring you all of the action tonight myself, Ross McIntyre, Carlos Martin alongside me, and Fabian Jungbluth on the cameras as always. Looking for another great race here tonight. As there we can see the Road to Formula guys just getting a bit of slipstream practice in. That is going to be crucial tonight, getting used to that slipstream, utilising that huge front straight to your advantage for a big dive into turn 1. That is going to be the prime overtaking spot round here today. 42 laps await us, of course. Let us know who you're supporting. Let us know who you think is going to win. And if this is your first time watching GPVWC, well, you've picked a great day to come along and join the fun. If you fancy getting involved with the series, make sure you head over to the website, gpvwc.com. Make sure you head to the Discord. The link's in the description. That's where everything is run through. That's where you can meet and greet your favourite drivers and get shown that you're not quite as good at sim racing as you thought you once were. Unless, of course, your name is Carlos Martin, in which case you're a Super League race winner and happen to be quite good. So then, Carlos, very, very close qualifying session. We saw a similar thing last time in Monza, very, very tight at the top. Do you think, once again, it's going to be close out on the racetrack?
Well, I think it's going to be pretty close. It will be everything about the tires and the management as the race starts. It will be very important how well did you set up the car for the really long stints they are trying to do. The pit lane is a bit shorter than Monza, so maybe it opens up for more aggressive strategies, let's say. But the tire wear is still really high, so I expect still a one-stop, although it will be tight for most of the drivers. We can see maybe soft medium or even soft hard for this race, as we saw in Monza. And yeah, well, everything will be like, just be safe, turn lap 1 and sector 2. There is nothing to win there, and whatever you win, it's easier to lose it back in the straights later on. So that's how I would approach that. Ooh, as we see, wow, was there contact between both Road to Formula? I think so. Yeah, well, a bit of shenanigans during the practice session, which is completely fine. But yeah, those are my expectations for the race, and which are pretty interesting to be said. I think most of the drivers who have maybe good pace for the race and not so great for qualifying might be able to grind it back during the race. Speaking of maybe Thomas Harvey, I'm speaking of maybe Sandeep Singh, who was qualifying further back. As we see some of the new entries as well doing very nicely, which is, for example, Oliver Taras in P7, which is a really great position for him. He's done Superlights 2 before, but doing these kind of results are really good looking for him, and an interesting choice for many teams next year. So my personal prediction, it will be actually pretty tight, but I think this time Maggio, I think he learned from Monza, and I think he's gonna take it.
We'll have to wait and see if the Magic Man can get onto the top step of the podium for the first time this season. Last time was his first podium this season, it must be said, in a race he very much could have won and dominated for multiple stages of the race. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be on home soil, but it's today redemption day for Alessandro Maggio. Time will tell, but of course, you've got that man on pole position, Alex Laho, 6 times a race winner this season, 10 times on the podium so far, and well, a race where he could, keyword could, be picking up the championship today as well. So, have to wait and see. Don't discount Joseph Herlock out of it as well. He had a great qualifying session. He got a second podium of the season last time out at Monza as well, to make it a double podium for Valley Esports. Only his, again, first time he was on the podium since the opening round in Melbourne, actually. So a great result for him. Suddenly the Valley Esports car has just come alive. They put a lot of upgrades into the thing the last couple of weeks, as I said. And they just came back off the summer break with an absolute rocket ship, it would seem. Might be too little too late for the constructors and certainly the drivers as well. But they can still go out there and put on a hell of a display and try and pick up some race wins coming towards the end of the season. We've got 3.5 minutes left in this warm-up session then. Currently Alessandro Maggio, the fastest driver by 0.4 of a second from Jan Dragoon. But the likes of Alex Laho and Sandeep Singh and, yeah, well, the guys you'd expect to be up the front there with them, not really putting in any competitive lap times. They're quite happy to take it quite slow, quite chill on this occasion, as we are looking back and getting a lovely view backwards of the Baku City Street Circuit. So it should be a very interesting race heading into this one. Of course, let us know who you think is going to be on top. Of course, Carlos, you said you think Maggio is going to do it. Honestly, I think once again, I think Alex Laho, when he's on form, I think he's unstoppable. And he's snuck onto pole position. And I think, I don't think he'll dominate the race, don't get me wrong, but for me, Carlos, he's in the driving seat, he's got the momentum in the championship, he can kind of see the trophy in the distance, and I think he's going to pick up another race win here today.
Yeah, I think this is important for the championship, but what Alex needs to do is to just finish the race, don't make things complicated further, and you can take the championship maybe in the next round in Singapore. There is absolutely no need to actually, risk for a race win, because you never know. If you DNF, and actually Sandeep wins or finishes second, then the gap shrinks a lot, and then in whatever round you go, Singapore, Austin, or Brazil. In Brazil, not really known for wet races. You don't want to go there without the championship being sealed. So I think it's important for him to just finish the race, outscore Sandeep in whatever manner. So it is actually difficult for Sandeep to actually have a chance in the upcoming rounds. You don't want to have such a rival. And for the rest of the race, I think it will be very interesting how everyone manages the tires and how everyone manages the aggressiveness, because maybe we are surprised. Remco was really fast today, and maybe we're getting surprised. Also, need to be mentioned, David Fidok also has really low top speed compared to the rest of the drivers, so maybe he's cooking something different for the race, and maybe these higher downforce will take care of the tires of his car, and maybe he will be able to outpace even with this top speed deficit. Maybe he will be able to still get into a really good rhythm and be a contender for this race. Or it might happen the other thing, it will maybe get swallowed by the other drivers during the straights, and maybe he has a struggle. So that's something really nice to have the eyes on right now for this race. It will be really interesting, as I think the warm-up session is just finishing right now, and we will be moving soon to the race. Also, I was mentioning it before, the brakes are quite of an issue in this round, not because of wear, also because you already overheat them in this intersection where we see the Spark racing car. Here there is no straights, so there is really hard braking zones where you overheat the brakes, and when you overheat those brakes, then there is no response from those, and then it gets really difficult, and people tend to lock up the rear end. So that's also one of the points of the race. If you go too much behind someone, you may end up having issues with that later on in the race. There is not that much of a benefit to be behind someone. You can be behind someone here, but you really need to drive the car in the second sector. You really need to drive it over the curbs. You really need to be aggressive. So there is a lot of factors here that actually take place and will make one of the best races, I think, of the season, unless a big pileup happens in lap 1. And this is a race I don't need to ask for spice. I think it will be spicy enough. As I was suggesting for Monza, I don't think we need spice here.
Well, we might be getting spice, unfortunately, Carlos, because we're moments away from the start of the 13th round of the 2024 GPVWC season. And we're here in Baku, the spiciest circuit of them all. The drivers are waiting to head out onto the grid. Of course, we'll have one formation lap, and then it is 5 red lights, and away we go. Of course, short run down into turn 1, a big opportunity to make up some big places on the opening lap. Hopefully, no one just goes if-gap car and just sticks it up the inside, but it's very much a possibility. We'll wait and see. But as always, it's been very, very clean on the opening lap here this year in Superlights, which you'd expect given the quality of the field. Of course, we are some of the best sim racers in the world competing for a place in the top GPVWC series. And, well, we'll just wait to see what is going to kick off going into this one. If you are just joining us, hello and welcome. We can't wait to get going here at Baku. And it would appear that we might be having a slight little issue going into this one. So we might be a slightly bit more delayed. Yeah, race cancelled. It's all over. Congratulations, Road to Formula. Yeah, nice one, guys. Yeah, we're just going to get that sorted out quickly while we figure out what's going on there. Hopefully, we can get everything fixed pretty quickly. So, Carlos Martin, you said you didn't want Spice. I said we're going to get Spice anyway. What do you need to do here on lap 1 to stay out of trouble?
I don't think it depends on you, to be honest. There are factors that you cannot control, and we saw it in FS2 while I was commentating that race, and that's why I really know it. We saw it here in the past in the castle section, or we saw it in other leagues and racing that they did big pileups in really tight sections. I think the only thing you can do is to just make sure you are able to react in time, and also make sure that when you brake, you don't brake in your usual braking point, because people will tend to brake way earlier than what they usually do, and what you actually need to do is just to anticipate maybe the car in front braking even further. The thing is, there is some drivers that actually like, and is really nice to take advantage of those situations and maybe go for a nice inside where there is a space. So there will be likely in some points of lap 1 that there will be 2 cars side by side constantly in sector 2, but it's important that when they head into the castle section, one of them, doesn't matter which one, concedes, and the guy who is, or the driver better said, sorry, the driver who is behind acknowledges that one of them is going to concede and doesn't send it to the guy or to the driver who is conceding. So, just having a bit of luck, and qualifying P1 is a very nice position to be in if you want to avoid incidents. So, yeah, just do a better quali, I guess.
Well, we'll have to see what's going to happen. Again, we're just experiencing a short delay here in the build up to the race, shall we say? So hopefully it won't be too long. We'll keep you updated as soon as we know what's going on. But good old R Factor 2's decided to be good old R Factor 2. I will leave it at that one, shall we say? Hello and welcome. If you are just joining us again, we are just experiencing a brief delay heading into the 13th round of the 2024 Superlights season here at the Baku City Street Circuit. And hopefully we're going to be underway very shortly. You join myself, Ross McIntyre, Carlos Martin alongside me with Fabian Jungbluth. Well, not currently on the cameras because we're not currently looking at anything, but he will be on the cameras when the server gets going once again. And as always, it's our pleasure to bring you all of the action this evening. And, well, it should be very, very interesting. Well, Carlos, I'll go back to you and just abuse you for being a Super League driver again, because you're quite good at telling us things. Yeah, Carlos Martin, you're a Super League driver. So you're not quite, you don't know the inside and outs of driving a Super Lights car around here. Strategy-wise, what are you expecting from the drivers here? What's it like with the tyres around here in Baku?
Well, I expect them to do a one-stop. It would be weird to see that they do a two-stop. The two-stop is definitely feasible, but you need to pit really, really early, and you need to be really on the lead. So that's surely one of the things we need to take into account, although I think both medium and hard actually work. To make it to the end with medium, you need to go quite long on the soft, and then nurse quite a lot the medium tire, and in order to nurse it, if you go with the hard, you're able to undercut, to take an advantage, and maybe if there is the proper spot to pit, you will just do it. Here, landing on traffic, it doesn't matter that much unless it's like a big train of cars. If there are 3 cars in a row, then you don't really want to pit at that moment. As we see, we are back in the server right now. There is still going on the warm-up session. Probably they are just setting a few things before we go. So I would suggest that just try to find a gap for pitting, that if there is cars, it doesn't matter if it's 1 by 1, because there is plenty of spaces where the push to pass that we have available here in Superlights, you can use it in very different ways. So that's definitely an option for the drivers. And yeah, I think that's basically the best way you can actually manage the race. You avoid pitting in a huge train where you will need to wait a lot of the lap to overtake the drivers, because you can overtake here into turn 3, you can overtake into turn 5, you can overtake into turn 7, you can overtake in the last corner of sector 2 if you have a big tire advantage. But if there are 3 cars ahead, then you need to actually wait a lot to do the move. So I would suggest that if you are in the leading train, you don't want to really risk the biscuit right now. Although it's a bit different for Vale, because they have 2 drivers ahead, you can play with that strategy. And I think it's important this time Vale tries to do a bit different with both drivers, unless they have a clear superiority to Alex Lehu. If they are clearly superior and they overtake him and they pull out, they can just do the same, and that's it. But if they just essentially are more or less the same as they were in Monza, they need to do something different. You need to force Alex to react to a pit. You need Alex to just, you know, force him to overtake one of the Vales and then to take care of the Vale coming behind with better tires. Doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's Maggio or Joseph, Ale or Joseph, sorry. But you really need to put Alex on the pressure. I felt like at Monza maybe Joseph was lacking a bit more pace, a bit of pace compared to Alessandro. So here it looks like they both have really nice and good pace. So it's important that Vale plays this strategy thing to actually try to secure the P1. I think it's important for them to actually achieve a victory when they were so strong in Australia. They also took pole in Australia. And then the season started a bit behind because they did already a mistake with the upgrades for Jeddah. So it took them almost 13 rounds to catch up to Road to Formula, to catch up to the rest of the teams. These last rounds, they have the good opportunities that they were hoping for the whole calendar. And that's, I think, the approach they need to do for this race.
Well, we'll wait and see, but we had a brief warm-up session there, once again to make sure that the serve was now working. It would appear that it is, so we'll shortly be teleporting onto the grid, and we are now. So finally, it's time to get going. Here in Baku, the cars will be slowly making their way out onto the grid. We can see one of the Spark Racing cars, looks to be Thomas Harvey in P6. Who also appears to be the only car starting this race. So congratulations on the 25 points, Thomas Harvey. Well deserved. Oh, no, there we go. We've got the other one on the grid now as well. So at least got 2 cars out there. Everyone else should be joining them very, very shortly. So, after a brief delay, it's time to go racing almost. 1 formation lap separating us from the 5 red lights. And then 42 laps around here at the Baku City Street Circuit. It's anyone's guess what is going to happen this evening. All of the cars are on the grid, and they're all now setting off on their formation lap. So let's run you through who is going to be starting where as they womble their way down into turn 1. Of course, it's that man Alex Laho starting on pole position by 1,000th of a second from Alessandro Maggio in P2. Joseph Herlock starts in third with David Feidock. He's in P4 for True North Racing. Jan Dragoon is fifth with Thomas Harvey alongside. Oliver Taras and Jack Mayer make up the fourth row of the grid. Seeing lots of support for Oliver Taras. Can he do a 7th to 1st challenge? Let's find out. Renko De G starts 9th with Sandeep Singh rounding out the top 10. Matthews Pishkan is in P11 with Giuseppe Saracino starting in P12. 13th is Maxime Bullion with Dominic Kurashavin starting 14th. Jan Sikora is 15th alongside Tom van der Voort. 17th will be Thomas Kuka with Alexander Ragota in P18, followed by teammate Michel Gauca in P19. Davide Zanini, the Italian Panini, he rounds out our top 20. 21st will be Purgis Miram with Chris Gitsov on 22nd. Florian Guy didn't set a qualifying time, he's starting 23rd. And looks like we've lost one of our drivers coming into the race session, so hopefully everything will be okay there. I asked you earlier, Carlos, you said you think that today's the day Alessandro Maggio is going to do it. Do you still stand by that heading into the race?
Yeah, surely. Why not? Who do you think is going to win the race today?
I still think Alex Laho. I still think he's in such a good position. I think he's got it all set up. I think he's just going to do an incredible job once again, but I don't think it's going to be easy. Because those Valet Esports cars, both of them are looking rapid and they can work together. Alex Laho's teammate starting down in P10. So it could be very, very interesting. Again, you've also got to see how well they get away from the lights. Pole position does not have the inside line on the short run down into turn 1. So if Alessandro Maggio gets a very, very good launch away from the lights, nails his entry into the left-hander at turn number 1, he could be leading at the exit of the first corner. So it's all to play for. 13th round of the 2024 season. 4 races to go, including this one. Constructors' Championship set to be decided today. Drivers' Championship could be decided today as the drivers make their way out onto the grid. The end of the formation lap is nigh. The 5 red lights are near and the tension will be rising in the paddock. You can see the virtual crowd losing their minds. It's time to go racing here at Baku for the 13th time in 2024 for GPVWC Superlights as we await those 5 red lights to set us underway. It is lights out and we are underway. Great start there from Alessandro Maggio on the inside. Does Alex Laho have the bottle into turn 1? He doesn't. Maggio runs wide, might hold the lead, has to cut back across to defend from the Frenchman on the run into turn 2. But the Italian driver is going to hold on to that lead after a great start. We've got 2 spinners there in the background and we've got a whole pile up of cars all swinging their way in. Someone's down and out of the race. Looks like it might be Dominic Kurashavin in the Alfa Sierra car. Yellow flag is out, but there were 3, 4, maybe 5 cars piling into turn 2 there and all getting involved. But for now, it is Alessandro Maggio that leads. Sandeep Singh, he's made a place up on this opening lap. Into P9 he moves. Elsewhere, all looks pretty steady away. It was Kurashavin that is out of the race. A real shame for the Ukrainian. Only 2 corners done, and he's a DNF here at Baku. Matthews Pishkan was also our other spinner. Wonder if there was some contact between the pair of them. And then the rest of the pack piled in. They started a little bit higher up the pack. Great start there, though, for Sandeep Singh to work his way into P9, try and work his way forward. He's become a bit of a specialist at the recovery drive. Has the Road to Formula team boss pushing his way forward after disappointing qualifying sessions. Lap 1, though, looks to be coming to an end. And, well, Carlos Martin, Alessandro Maggio already a second ahead of Alex Laho.
Yeah, that's a really surprising pace. So he really wants to make a statement with this race start. Probably Alex is trying to react with a bit of push to pass in his end, but it looks like Joseph is also really fast here. So let's see how the tires hold for the rest of the races. We see Renko Dezua actually attacking on Sandeep Singh right now, so Sandeep losing a position. As we see Chris Kitsov out of the race right now, probably one of the other victims from the initial race incident. We see Jack Mayer here in P6 right now, trying to make a move on David Fidok right now. This section is not the best one to actually go for an attack. So we see Tom van der Voort also in the pits, affected by the lap 1 incident that we saw in turn 2. This is exactly what happened as well in FS2. When you get confident that you went through turn 1 and then you go through turn 2 and you forget that you also need to do it. As we see David Fidok here adding also a bit of pressure on Jan Dragun, who already lost Herlock, and Alex cannot keep the pace of Maggio right now. He is completely off the pace right now, out of DRS. We are not sure if he is actually trying to save a bit of tires for the longer run, or if Maggio is maybe on a 2-stopper. But definitely Alex is under the pressure. If he loses the DRS so soon, maybe he cannot keep up with them and not having race win chances. So we see Jan Dragun here doing the last 2 corners. As we see, he is just behind Herlock. She's just 9/10, just being in the DRS zone that will be able to open in the next 2 corners. Just after turn 2, you have an open spot. As we see Maggio doing 44.4, which I think is a decent lap time. It's not the fastest, so I think probably everyone is just trying to save a bit of tires right now. As we see Alex right now is opening DRS against Maggio, and very important here to not cook the brakes, to not cook the wall. It's important to just take everything into account, that you don't want to have an issue, that it is still 39 laps or 40 laps to go, so you don't really want to take big risks right now. So we see Jack Mayer just pressuring everyone. Everyone is still on DRS. Everyone is still on DRS, and we will see in the approach, as we see a lot of curb from Jack Mayer. I think that's the way you want to take that corner, really close in the castle section. Will we see a crash today in the castle section, Ross?
Well, it's very, very likely, given how tight and narrow it is through there. Yeah, seeing a lot of curb being taken around here at Baku. It's something you see a bit more often in sim racing than you do in a real world motorsport. Drivers happy to let the cars just bounce over the curb a little bit more, abuse the suspension, the floor plank, just that little bit more. At the front, I think Alex Laho is doing similar to what he did at Monza. I think he's already tyre saving. We saw at Monza, Laho was a lot quicker than Maggio at the end of stints. I think Laho, now that he knows that the Road to Formula isn't out and out the fastest car, there's no point pushing early on, messing up your tyres, messing up the strategy, as Maggio sets the fastest lap of the race, but Laho big time closes in with that DRS. As long as Alex Laho stays within the DRS early doors, he's got a big opportunity to win this week, but so do the likes of Joseph Herlock and Jan Dragun, who are all there or thereabouts as well. Joseph Herlock's going to get the double DRS effect. Not going to be close enough for a move on Alex Laho, but maybe putting some pressure on the Road to Formula driver as they make their way through turns 3 and 4. This is where it gets very squiggly through this section. Lots of 90-degree corners here at Baku. Then you've got this awkward, very slow chicane. The downforce isn't quite on through that section. You're not quite going fast enough to have all the grip that you want. You have to rely quite a lot on the front left tyre through the right-hander. Very easy to kiss the outside barrier. As you can see just how aggressive they're taking it through the castle section. Hopefully no one does a Charles Leclerc today, but time will tell. It's only lap 4 of 42, still very early doors in this race, as Joseph Herlock continues to put the pressure on Laho, who continues to try and put the pressure on Alessandro Maggio, who took the lead down at turn number 1. Maggio, of course, looking for redemption after last time out at Monza, qualified on pole at home soil. A disappointing P2 despite an incredible race. today he'll be looking to try and move forward. Sandeep Singh's dropped behind Remco de Joux. Wonder if there was a mistake in there somewhere for the road to Formula Car. Let's see though as he goes onto the front straight, maybe some push to pass being used. See the speedo getting to the top of the rev range, 323-25 kilometers an hour, but not close enough for a move. Yeah, Carlos, I mean, you've got to be quite close and very brave for a dive bomb down into turn 1.
Yes, I think if you want to overtake into turn 1, you want to do it with overspeed. There is no need to actually do a dive bomb right now. I think the pace looks really nice from most of the drivers. I'm very surprised that the midfield is almost able to keep up with the top guys right now. There is a clear 1, 2, 3 like we had in Monza. You know, we see Maggio, Lehu and Herlock and Dragoon fighting for his life for the DRS. But then we see Remco having good pace. I'm watching his lap times. His lap times are pretty good. We will see if he's able to keep this pace. And we see Maxime Beaulieu. He's just right behind Sandeep. So both Fusion Racing, they're looking really good this Grand Prix, and they're looking to score good points, which will be really important for the championship. As we see, we see that this advantage Road to Formula had, not only upgrades wise, setup wise, was lost during the season. Teams were able to catch up, and now the question is are even teams even ahead in setup terms than Road to Formula? Maybe they stick to one concept the whole season and they didn't develop it further, and now they're maybe paying this price right now. Although Alex is able to keep up right now on Maggio, which is good news for the ones who want to have a really nice and intense racing towards the end of the race, which we had at Monza. Monza was one of the best races. We see Sicora and Saracino actually fighting for this P12 right now. There is a lot of people being really close. As we see Sandeep Singh just made the move on Remco de Joux. I think Remco had a pretty slow last lap. Maybe he's struggling right now with the tires. You can see the front of the leading pack here. They're still racing very close to the best lap time they did, which is 44.3 for Maggio, and then they're still racing 44.4, so they are really conserving well the tires in their end, whereas we see Remco already hitting the 45s right now. So yeah, definitely his tires are starting to struggle a bit, and we can see that there is a bit of a gap between Sandeep and Remco right now. Probably Maxime will try to have a look of an overtake on his teammate, otherwise he will lose a lot of time with the rest of the pack. Oliver Taras also a bit of a struggling. He lost a position in the race start to Thomas Harvey, and we can see this just the same groups we saw at Monza. We are seeing it right now. The question will be, will Fido, Dragoon and maybe Mayor Harvey will be able to catch up back on Vale and Lehu, or we will have these groups, and what is gonna happen from that point on? We see Maxime is a bit further back to actually attempt, as we see Jan Sikora actually going for the move. And Sikora is a bit off position, I would say. He's being really fast. He has had the speed during the whole season, and probably he's gonna climb up a bit of positions right now that the tires are starting to give up. This is one of the crucial points that we will have in the race. Now you have to hold. You don't have a choice to right now just go and pit. You need to hold at least 4 to 5 more laps at the very least to actually do a pit and go for the hard compound. And if you want to go for the medium, you need to actually go longer. You need to go to lap 15, you need to go to lap 16 in order to set the medium. So if you want to set the medium, you're not even halfway to it.
Absolutely. Lap 7 of 42 here at Baku. 3 DNFs already. Both Alpha Sierras and Dominic Koroshavin and Chris Gitsov, Alexander Ragotsa as well. A real shame for them, but unfortunately that's racing. Sometimes it just isn't your day. Sometimes it all comes to an end far too early. Alessandro Maggio leads at the front. Alex Laho, championship leader. He's keeping in tow though. Staying in that DRS range, watching his tyres. The other Valley Esports car of Joseph Herlock not far behind either. Maybe Alex Laho's close enough for a go this time, because this is the closest he's been for some time. Plus the Frenchman got in his locker. Maggio pulls to the outside. Laho comes inside on the brakes. Fastest lap for outside and touch. A small bit of contact. Somehow, they're both still going coming into turn 2. But Alex Laho into the lead with a lovely, lovely move. But what is Alessandro Maggio? How's he going to respond to that one to the outside? Going to have to go the long way round. Oh, so whoa! Alessandro Maggio's in the wall and he might be out of the race.
Oh, wow.
Break for the Italian.
Yeah, the car is broken. Like, it's... Oh, wow, he has no rear tire. Wow. He lost it under the braking. He had the snap of oversteer. I think there was no need to actually try to risk everything to try to be in front in that corner. You could actually retake the position in the next straight. As we see a replay of the action, he brakes really late and he loses it alone. He really loses it alone and almost Herlock collects him. Right? And wow, that's such a shame for Maggio. I think he just needed to calm down and to go for it again. I think just going here for the move in turn 3 is not the best of choices. Maybe Alex right now has a bit of damage because there were 2 contacts with Maggio. There was the contact in turn 1 and there was the contact in turn 3 at the exit after the collision with the wall. So we see also a replay of the race start. We see Dominic Koroshavin having the inside right now, and he tries to go for the move for the dive. Oh no, this is exactly the same we had in FS2. What is the point? What is the need of doing this? Yeah, you dive 5 cars which are braking really early, but they need to use the space of the track and you're not taking that into account. So I honestly, you take care in turn 1, but then you also need to take a slight care in turn 2. So yeah, I'm lost of words for that. Too much drama in 1 minute. It was wow. We see Joseph Herlock still being in the DRS of Alex Laho, which is good news for Vale. It's not both cars being out of the race, they are also keeping there with the pace of Alex. We will see if Alex's pace is actually affected or not. Last lap from Alex was a 46.7 and the previous lap he did to that, it was the fastest lap of the race with DRS and slipstream, was a 43.6. So let's see how this affected the pace, and now we will have a clean lap. Dragoon is already in the DRS range from Joseph Herlock. So it is important that Spark right now, some things are happening in the front. It's important to work together to try to catch up to these guys, because right now the race is wide open. The race is completely wide open, anything can happen, and let's see how it develops, Ross.
We'll have to wait and see, but what a dramatic turn. Alessandro Maggio from the lead of the race to down and out in the span of about 3 corners. Unbelievable stuff here at Baku. Again, this is a big opportunity for Spark. Again, they've got the odds really stacked against them in the Constructors' Championship. They essentially need to outscore Rotor Formula very, very significantly at every remaining race. Right now, Jack Mayer and Thomas Harvey do need to get a bit of a move on coming through this one on lap 10 of 42. Shame to see what happened to Dominic Koroshavin. As well, as you said, Carlos, sometimes you don't need to dive up the inside like you do on the F1 games, even as fun as it sounds. But as a Brazilian legend once said, if gap car. And unfortunately, that is what happened on that occasion for Dominic Koroshavin, and everyone else just piled on in. But Alessandro Maggio, that's the big story so far with this one. Of course, Alex Laho, that's not, well, it's not handed him the race victory, but it's made it a little bit easier. Removed one of his competitors from the occasion. Joseph Herlock now carrying the Valley Esports torch on his shoulders. Yellow flag out in Sector 1. Looks to be all okay, though. Again, sometimes a yellow flag here at Baku. Well, most yellow flags mean you're in the wall, and that's Michel Galker, and that's a huge crash down at turn 1. Hard into the wall, the other gallery 82. And that is 2 squads losing 2 drivers now across this race. What has happened to the last gallery 82 in this race?
I think he already had damage.
Oh, already had to. Oh, just lost the rear coming in. That's bizarre. I think, yeah, he must have hit the wall somewhere because he already looked like he had damage.
Yeah, he looked like a bit sideways in the straight, so I think he already had a bit of damage, and that's why it's so important to not clip any wall at any time. You want to keep it safe because the damage in Super League and Super Lights, it's really meaningful. You drop a lot of pace and the car unsettles a lot. So you don't want to have any kind of suspension damage or floor damage by having contact with any other driver. As we see David Fidok right now trying to do the move on Jan Dragun heading into turn 3 right now. And this is the price of having lower downforce. That you actually now are struggling a bit more with the tires, as we see Fidok just making the move stick. This is the good thing of having good downforce. It will take you more time to overtake people, but right now he is just clearing up people with the pure pace he has right now. He was the fastest driver on track without the pure DRS that you normally have. Alex Lehoux has a really similar pace but slightly slower, so he has now 2 seconds to actually recover. He has the same pace as the leaders, so this is a really good metric to maybe just catch up them in the upcoming laps. It will be important that Jan Dragun can acknowledge this and think, okay, right now he has the pace, he can drag me a bit for a few laps. If I attack him right now, he is in an attacking range, he will probably be able to overtake him because he has 7 kph more top speed. As we see how fast he is closing, look at it, it's already 6/10 behind. As he is just opens DRS, he will just be able to do the move. He's just, yeah, you can see Fidok trying to wave, just telling him no, do not do it, and Jan Dragun was waving saying no, I will not do it, acknowledging this situation that he will take benefit from the DRS from David, and he will struggle more in the second sector, but he will take advantage of this and he will try to seize a bit the pressure of the tires, Jan Dragun right now, because their target is really clear. They want to catch up on the drivers in front, and we will see if they are able to. They obviously lost time in the previous lap, as we can see Jan Dragun, he missed the apex into turn 4, heading into turn 5 and 6, taking a bit of curb, not most of it. And this is really important because we can see some drivers who are actually using a lot the curbs and some of them not using it at all. We can see Fidok, he's not using it at all, the curbs, which is pretty interesting to see. And not all the drivers are able to just do that right now, and he's clearly pulling out. He's just in the 9/10 range. If he pushes a tiny bit more into the next corner, he maybe has this magic second that will not allow Jan Dragun to actually open the DRS, but I think he will be able to just open it and take advantage of it. It will be interesting to see what lap time Fidok will do this lap and see if he's able to catch the guys in front. He won 2/10 out of sector 1. He lost a bit in sector 2, not much, 30,000, so apparently he will be able to more or less match, because he will lose eventually time in sector 3, the guys in front. He did a 45.1, whereas Alex Lehoux is doing 45.9. As we see, Jack Mayer, I think, is he heading into the pits? I see, yeah, Jack Mayer is into the pits, so he probably goes into the hard tire right now. I think it's very soon to go for the medium, although we'll need to wait for confirmation of tires. So Jack is one of the first front runners to actually make a move. We can see Alex Lehoux taking way more curb than what, for example, David Fidok was doing. So Fidok not curb at all, Herlock a lot of curb as well. So we can see those differences, and maybe what Fidok was lacking a bit in sector 2 is this a massive curb attacking. And the reason you can do that compared to real life is that the only floor damage you can get in R-Factor 2 is from having contact with another, with a barrier or with another car, but not from the actual curbs. Therefore, you can actually abuse this. And as you as a driver, you need to find the boundaries. As we see a yellow flag in sector 1, you need to find these boundaries of the car. If you can abuse the curbs, you will abuse them. If you can abuse the track limits, you will abuse it. If you can abuse the aero with the setup, you will obviously abuse it. So this is, I think, normal and natural in the instinct of a racing driver to just try to abuse these things. So we see how much he closes to Alex. We can see how powerful the DRS is. And that's what we want from a driver. We want a driver who is able to take risks, to try to think out of the box, to drive on the edge, and see how spectacular these drivers are.
Absolutely, one of the many joys of sim racing, of course. As you said, Carlos, you don't take damage from curbs. You can hit them as hard as you like, and you don't have to worry about braking, suspension, ripping the floor off the car and bringing all the electronics with it, doing your back in. You can just smack them and get on with it, and it makes the racing very, very exciting. In the meanwhile, we've also lost Tom Vandervoort, unfortunately, so only one drag racing car left in the race, but it is Jan Dragoon, and he is in the contention for the podium places as it stands. So let's see how he gets on. Jack Mayer's tyres still not updating. Actually, though, they have updated. It looks like he's gone for another set of softs, according to my live timing. We saw in the pit lane the compound didn't update, and well, you could tell it was the same set of rubber that was still on the car visually, because you could see the graining on the front right. But there we can see Jack Mayer is on another set of the soft compound tyres. So Mayer committing to the two-stop is the reigning Formula Sprint 1 champion. That could throw a bit of a spanner in the works for the front-runners, I think, Carlos. I think everybody else trying to run a one-stopper, you know, soft to medium or soft to hard. If Jack can make this two-stopper work, he could be a real threat late in the race.
Yeah, he can be a threat. The pit lane is about 20-second pit loss, and now just watching him, his sectors right now, he won about 6/10 on Alex Lehoux in sector 1 only, and he didn't win that much in sector 2. Maybe he's just conserving these tires to try to make them last about 12 laps or so, and then go for a stint on the medium. And this is interesting, definitely. He's not doing purple in any of them, so maybe there is still a chance that the tires didn't get updated and he's on the medium tire, but I'm not very sure about it. Maybe he's just on the soft. He did a 44.2. Yeah, well, Alessandro by his own did a 44.3 in lap 2. So I'm not entirely sure if the tires are still bugged and he's on the medium tire. If he went for a two-stop, it would make sense to him to actually go for soft, medium, soft in his end. But we will see, as time will tell. He's currently just 9/10 faster than the front. I don't think it's easy enough to actually make a huge difference. I think he should be like undercutting them about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds a lap. So let's see how everything develops. So maybe he did a mistake, and maybe he forgot to actually change the tire compound, because it is really weird to me to clearly go for a two-stop on a soft if you can actually go for a soft medium, see how it goes. And if the tires last, you actually keep with that strategy, and if they don't last, you just switch and you go for a two-stopper. But yeah, interesting nonetheless, and we will see how that pans out. We see Renko Desio still ahead of Maxime Bulliot. They're going really good. They're having great pace. I'm very happy for Renko and Maxime. They are doing a lot of effort, and Renko was kind of motivated for this round. So I'm always happy that these teams that were further back in the season that now start to succeed or to improve. As we see Saracino heading into the pits right now, this is more or less the time you actually want to go for the pits, and we will need to wait for his tires to actually be updated. I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure Jack's tires are still not updated, and he's probably on the mediums, and maybe we have a server issue because we had issues today. And we will see what tires is Saracino on right now. He is substituting Dennis Urban for this round, and we will see if we see him more races from him in the rest of the season.
Yeah, it was great to have Giuseppe with us here tonight, of course, stepping up into GPVWC Superlights. Long may it continue for the Italian. And yeah, we'll just wait for the tyres to update as well. Lap 16 of 42, Alex Lahoe still leads this race from Joseph Herlock. David fired up in P3, of course. Alessandro Maggio led most of the early phases before a small mistake put him in the barrier and out of the race on lap number 8. And that's taken the pressure off of Alex Lahoe a little bit, because now he only has one of the Valet Esports cars to contend with. The Valet, at the moment, seemingly the fastest car in Superlight, as there we see a swap for position for Fusion Racing. That's not team orders, they are fighting, both Maxime Bulio and Remco de Jeu. Bulio slides up the inside, of course. Both of those guys got confirmed to maintain their race seats into 2025. As is that's Jan Dragoon coming into the pits there for a set of the medium tyres. So the Drake Racing driver boxes from P4, comes out behind Jack Mayer. So Jack Mayer has jumped Jan Dragoon in the pits. Mayer, though, of course, on the 2-stop, he has to stop once again. Jan Dragoon, that set of tyres even, they should last into the end of the race. So this is where we're seeing the strategy coming into it just a little bit, as Oliver Taras now under pressure from the other road to Formula in Sandeep Singh. Taras been doing a solid job in the Red Ven car so far. But Sandeep, we know how good he is over a race. We know how good the Road to Formula car is as well. Although not quite as dominant as it was earlier in the year, still one of the fastest cars on the grid, and Sandeep using that to his advantage. As it stands, if we finish where we are now, then Road to Formula are your 2024 GPVWC Superlights Teams Champion. Second year running, they'll be Teams Champion as well. What an absolute phenomenal year they have had. But of course, still a long way to go in this one. Could all go wrong. Let's touch wood that it doesn't for them. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what Spark can do as well, if they can try and stay in that championship fight. On the note of championships as well, if we finish as we do, Alex Lahoe will not win the Drivers' Championship here in Baku. But again, he'll be reaching for that trophy heading into the next round. After this race, only 3 races to go. Flying by as the season. We're heading to Singapore on the 8th of October, the Circuit of the Americas on the 22nd of October, and to the traditional end to the season in Sao Paulo in Brazil on the 5th of November. As there we see, that is Sandeep Singh into the pits for, again, we'll give the game a second to update the tyres, as it says it's on the same set of tyres. So too comes in Maxime Bulio. Releases Remco de Jeu from the Fusion prison. And Bulio gets going once again, and is Sandeep on a 1-stopper? We'll wait for the live timing to update itself. According to my live timing, looks to be a set of mediums, so maybe R Factor 2 just having a little bit of a moment to update the compound colour on the side. Tell you what though, out the front, Carlos, it's still very, very close between Alex Lahoe and Joseph Herlock. And as well, David Fidux, he's closed in the last couple of laps. I wonder if Fidux just got that little bit of extra tyre life still in it.
Well, they definitely need to react to Jack's pit lane. I mean, Jack will jump them, and if you are Alex maybe, or if you are Joseph, maybe you want to take advantage of, you know, the fact that you add a random thing into the mix. If you are either of them and you think, well, as we see, I think they're both trying to play games, who is pitting, as we see Joseph Harlock actually going for the pits. I'm pretty sure he will just be right behind Jack Mayer. You also don't want to fall behind Jan Dragoon, because otherwise you'll get into big trouble. But yeah, you want to play this factor if you actually feel you are the fastest. You either just go for the undercut and eventually you break the DRS train that there is actually happening between both, as we see a lot of drivers just now going for the pits after 18 laps done, which is a really long go for most of them. I think most of them are just learning through the season what is the actual good strategy. We saw a lot of, almost going wide, Jan Sikora. That is one of the things that might happen. The brakes get really hot. There's no space to actually cool them if you go in the pit lane and then you go into turn 2 with really hot brakes coming from the pits. And this is something I think many teams learned through the season. They were doing a lot of two-stoppers. They were doing a lot of hard run, really long runs on the hards. And I think most of the teams learned from what Road to Formula and Spark Racing they were doing at the beginning of the season. Going very long, cruising these soft tires, nursing them, treating them with a lot of love, and then going for a nice and decent medium run, where here the gaps are a bit longer and there are less DRS trains, so there is more opportunities to actually going for overtakes, as we see Alex Lehoux and David Fidok also going for the pit lane. This is, yeah, everyone will be in a more or less same strategy. I think we will see Jack Mayer leading the race comfortably right now, and we will see maybe it is going to be quite close between Herlock and Lehoux. And I think they both understand. I think it's quite ahead. Herlock, the undercut is really strong, and I think Joseph, he needs to acknowledge, he needs to pass Mayer really fast. If you have the opportunity to do it before the straight, you actually need to do it. Otherwise, Alex is going to try it in the straight. I think with this lap difference that they have, Mayer pitted like 5 to 6 laps ago, they will catch Jack really fast and they will actually have an opportunity to do a move in the very next straight. Jan Dragon also in the DRS of Alex, and that is precisely why it was important to maybe pit the lap before, as we see Maxime Bulliot applying some pressure on Jan Sikora. I'm not sure which tire Sikora is on, but the Fusion Racing has had a lot of pace during this race, and they got overtaken by TTF Racing driver Jan Sikora. He is on medium. I think they pitted a bit later, and pitting 1-2 laps or even 3 laps later is very significant, because now the stint is really long, is generally about 24 to 25 laps, and having this advantage of 2/10, maybe a lap constantly, it is great, because it helps you to overtake. It doesn't make it that difficult, and this is the advantage they will have now, as we see Joseph Harlock going for the move even before he opens the DRS. He will make it stick pretty easily, and now it's game on for Alex. Alex is 1 second behind Jack Mayer, so definitely whenever he overtakes Jack, he will not have the DRS from Joseph Harlock, so he will need to build and work this gap. He will need to shrink it in order to have this DRS and have an attack. So I will say the second part of the race, it will be less comfortable for Alex than what it was the first part of the race, where he had the DRS from Alessandro in the first laps, and then he had a nice comfortable tire gap. But now he will need to really work this, and he needs to acknowledge that going through Jack is his mission number 1, and it needs to be done ASAP. Because if Jack loses the DRS and he doesn't overtake him, it will be an extra lap and it will be 2 seconds to recover, which will be a bit difficult for him. Did I lose you, Ross?
You did momentarily. My microphone did its classic stop working for a moment, as it seemingly does every single night. But we're still here, still enjoying the action here at the 13th round of the 2024 GPVWC Superlights season. Alex Lehoux then who'll be needing to clear Jack Mayer as quickly as he can, essentially. That's the game plan. That's what he needs to do. He needs to get through Mayer, who will be a threat on that two-stopper late in the race. And we know how fast... Well, we know how fast Joseph Herlock, Jack Mayer, Alex Laho, Jan Dragoon, David Fidek, all the guys in the top 5, ludicrously quick drivers. And it's no mean feat for any one of them to try and get through another. So let's see if we can get Alex Laho to try and make a move. But Mayer's got a bit of a gap back to him right now. He himself is within the DRS of Joseph Herlock, which is very good for the valet driver's efforts. And, well, Herlock, this race, maybe just playing into his hands a little bit. Although he is under pressure, I'd expect him to let Mayer go through without any struggle again. There's no point fighting and losing time to someone on the soft tyres who has to stop again. So Herlock may well let Mayer slide on by when the opportunity arises. We'll wait and see, but I don't think that opportunity is too far away. Although it's not a great middle sector for Jack Mayer. Made a little error coming through the castle section. Just cost him a bit of momentum. Mayer seems to be really fast through Sector 3, though. This is where he's making his money as they fly through so fast, these corners. Can't see anything through this section either. You're just braking and hoping you hit your marks as Mayer gets all sort of squirrely on the exit of what is realistically the penultimate corner. Because after that turn there, after that left-hander, it's all just flat-out kinks. Hold your foot to the floor. Try not to scrub off too much speed. We're over halfway through this race. Mayer actually has dropped out of DRS range of Joseph Herlock as a result of that. So maybe Jack Mayer might be having to go on the defensive from Alex Laho. It's a crucial time for Mayer. He needs to be making up as much time as possible in this race. It's just those little mistakes that could be costing him and could be allowing the race to fall into the hands of the likes of Joseph Herlock, the likes of Alex Laho, the likes of Jan Dragoon, as this top 4 closes in on each other. Wow, what a scintillating battle we are being offered here. 4 different drivers for 4 different teams, all within fighting distance in the top 4. Granted, Jack Mayer must stop again, but still, look at that. That's exactly what we want to see here at GPVWC. Brilliant stuff here in Baku. Let us know who you think's been your driver of the day so far in the live stream lap. In the live stream chat, should I say, as Joseph Herlock tries to pull away into the distance. Of course, running numbers for Valet Esports after that mistake from Alessandro Maggio earlier on, which saw him down and out of the race. The slightest of errors putting the man who led early doors into the barriers down at turn number 3. But Herlock is doing a mighty job. He's only been on the podium twice this season. At the first round in Australia and last time out at Monza. Can this be the first time that Herlock finds his way onto the top step in Superlights, become our 5th race winner of the year as well? Well, we've got about 20 laps to decide that, haven't we? Here is Alex Laho on the back of Jack Mayer. Laho will be right up there. He'll have the DRS, he'll have the push to pass him. Well, this will be a very easy move, and Jack Mayer dives into the pits once again. And well, he wasn't on that soft tyre for very long. I wonder if Jack Mayer has decided that the 2-stopper was not the one to be on. He's admitted defeat and he's probably coming in for a set of mediums now. That's a real shame for the Brit, but it was worth a strategy gamble. He'll come out in the bottom half of the top 10, but on fresher rubber than those in front, even if slightly fresher. And we know the pace has gone on board as well, so he's got time to work his way forwards. He's got time to try and push onwards and still try and salvage a good result. But that's a real shame for Jack Mayer. As meanwhile, the Fusion drivers are fighting once again. Not what you maybe want to see if you're a Fusion racing fan, but Remco De Gio and Maxime Bulio have been putting on a great display for us this evening. And long may it continue. Just in front of them, though, is Jan Sikora. They're wanting to work together to try and get through the TTF driver. I mean, Carlos, what do you do when you're in a situation like this? You've got your teammate just in front of you if you're Maxime Bulio. No team orders, you know, you're free to race, but just in front of your teammate is another driver. Do you work together to try and get through, or is it just a free-for-all, go have some fun?
No, definitely they work together. They care about the league and the team and the standings, and they definitely want to get this position from Sikora. And they also acknowledge that after Sikora there is nothing, because Jack is right now on new tires, so presumably he will pull away, and the next car ahead of Mayer is 6 seconds off, and the car behind they have is 5 seconds off. So this is eventually everything. As we see a yellow in sector 1, this is eventually everything that they can fight for right now in the next 17 laps, unless something out of ordinary happens. Definitely this is the fight they want to. We saw them working as a team. They looked for it, and their aim is to achieve it. Maybe it takes them a bit more, maybe it takes them a bit less. We saw Maxime maybe treating the tires a bit better than Remco, so we see he goes a tiny bit wide into turn 1. Like, he had a better tire wear than Remco. He actually overtook Remco at the end of stint 1. So maybe what we see at some point is Bulio just going through Remco, just overtaking him, and then trying to make the move on Sikora. But it's very important that when they do this move, they don't lose the DRS from Sikora. As we see another yellow in sector 2, let's hope nothing happened. As we see Zanini
out of the race. Davide Zanini, he's met the wall, he's lost the rear wheel. And the Italian Panini down and out becomes another DNF in this one. What happened to the TTF driver?
Going wide this corner. Oh, wow.
Wow, that well. I mean, first of all, that has a big impact with the wall.
I think that was intentional. There's no way.
I wonder if the car was broken, because that's bizarre.
Nah,
either there was an issue with the wheel or something like that, but Davide Zanini, that's not an incident I've ever seen before. That's not a corner you miss like that. You either run too wide or you get it right. You don't cut the corner and vault yourself over the sausage curbs. Bizarre stuff. While we were watching that up the front, Alex Laho is right on the tail of Joseph Herlock, so the fight for the lead's back on lap 26. So then,
yeah, Herlock did a mistake. Herlock lost 6 tenths last lap.
Yeah, so Herlock's made a mistake as well. Alex Laho's probably using push to pass. He's looking to the inside as well. That's where the other valet car, Valentino Maggio, met the wall on lap 8. This time Joseph Herlock doesn't make the same mistake, but they're side by side for 2 corners now. Looks like Laho's going to get the drive. Looks like Laho's going to get the lead. And the championship leader back into P1, a position he hasn't held in quite some time in this race. It's Road to Formula back on top once again, but Joseph Herlock is right with him up the front. What does Joseph Herlock have to do to respond?
Well, I wonder if he clipped the wall or he has an issue. It looks like suddenly his car has a bit of understeer from what it looks like from the onboard. As we see Saracino going for another pit. Oh, that's a weird one. So maybe he's still really close, so he will be able to hold the DRS. Because he was racing in high 43s, low 44s. Then the last lap was a 44.7. He had a lap that his lap time was removed, and now he's losing all the pace to Alex. This is weird. I wonder if he actually clipped the wall in this lap that he had removed the lap time, because the lost pace he had, it's pretty sudden and pretty big right now. Let's see how it develops in the following lap. So maybe Joseph, what he needs to start thinking is, how do I keep this podium from Harvey and Fidok, because Jan Dragoon overtook Fidok in the pits. Let's remember, Fidok was ahead of Jan Dragoon before the pits, and now they are swapped positions because Jan undercutted him. So maybe he needs to start thinking backwards, because yeah, there is a 1 lap tire difference, but it shouldn't be this big by this lap. They've done only 8 laps on these tires, so he either did a big mistake and Alex took advantage of it, and maybe he lost a bit of confidence, and now maybe he's gained it back, or he has damage. We will see in the approaching laps. He's now able to keep quite close to it, as we see a bit of tailgating there, a bit of issues with the traction. So we can see he's actually trying to push, he's actually trying to be ahead of Alex. So probably Alex right now, he either concedes and says, okay, I just save the push to pass for the end of the race. There's no point for me to actually use it now. Or Joseph will just probably do an attempt. As we see, he's actually pulling a bit right now. It would be interesting, because if these two guys fight, they will bring into the fight Jan Dragoon, definitely. Yeah, and I don't think that's something they are interested for, as Joseph is closing in and he just waits behind. A dive here, it is really complicated. I can tell you the grip is really low. The front tires concede really fast, and the rear tires, as the stint goes on, they also concede fairly. So Joseph right now, it looks like he's able to hold right now. Maybe he's just taking advantage of the DRS from Alex and just relaxing a bit, trying to calm down a bit in this lap. His previous lap was a 44.2, and the previous laps he was doing when Alex overtook him was a 45.9, and the previous one was a 44.7. So he is clearly having an advantage of being behind Alex, as we see how aggressive he is over these curves. This is what you are meant to do. But Dragoon is also catching up on them. So maybe it is a 3-man race in this occasion.
Should be very, very interesting. Not far away from lap 30 of 42 here in Baku. Laho, Herlock, Dragoon, the three of them locked together at the front. And it's anyone's guess who's going to be on top. Of course, Joseph Herlock looking for his first race win in GPVWC Superlights. Meanwhile, Alex Laho is looking for his 7th win this season and to put one hand on the championship trophy. Maybe Jan Dragoon can get in there, take a race win as well. It's anyone's guess. It's Baku. Anything can happen. As a great man once said, in motorsport, it normally does. Right then, lap 29 of 42. A little bit wide there from Alex Laho. Herlock follows him in, but they stay clear of the wall. Now flying into turn 2. Herlock will have the DRS once again. Might be a bit too far back to throw a dive bomb, but you never know if he's feeling a bit lucky with the push to pass. But once again, I think he's going to be too far away, and indeed stays tucked into that slipstream, stays tucked on the racing line. Heading through turn number 3. Herlock clearly happy to play a patient game here, clearly happy to let the race run its course. There's no point risking it like his teammate did earlier on and finding yourself in the barrier in the fight for the lead. Jan Dragoon made a little mistake, I think, through sector 1. He's dropped just a little bit back, but not too far back for it to be an issue. As they now make their way through the middle sector, through the castle section, infamous for its narrowness and how tight it is. We've had a fair few DNFs in this race. 16 cars left out there. We've lost Koroshavin, Gitsov, Ragotsa, Maggio, Galka, Van der Voort, and Zanini. Let's hope we don't lose any more. As well, meanwhile, Jan Dragoon's managed to make up the time that he seemingly lost through the opening sector. Bit of traffic there for the race leaders coming up. That looks like it could be Mathieu's Pijcam at a glance in the background. And I believe it will be as they work their way through. So Laho will get the DRS as well. That's a bit of a blow to Herlock on this occasion as they go on to lap 30 with Laho getting the DRS. So as Pijcam gets very politely out of the way. So Laho will just have to continue plugging on round Dragoon, losing even more time. What was a 3-way battle, I think, is now becoming a 2-way battle. I suppose at this point, Carlos, that Joseph Herlock's just got to keep piling the pressure on at this phase of the stint, this phase of the race, and eventually hope that he has the tyres come the end to start making moves on Alex Laho.
Yeah, and definitely. He's playing that game, and there's no need for him to do something different right now. Just an update on Jack Mayer. He already overtook Oliver Taras for P7. When he decided to go for this two-stopper, he was in P6 behind Thomas Harvey. So in order to more or less recover the same place he was, as we see... Wait, Bulio is DNF? Oh no! Oh no, Maxime is DNF'd. Oh no. Let's hope it's not a DC, please, because he was just doing an amazing race. He lost a bit of ground with their competitors, which is a tiny bit... Oh, no.
Disconnect then for Maxime Bulio. What a shame. Then there were 15 out on the racetrack. The Canadian down and out through internet issues. That is heartbreaking. Having a great race was Bulio. Sometimes, though, those things are unavoidable. Lap 30 of 42. Maxime Bulio, our latest DNF here at Baku. A circuit that often causes chaos, and it's now claimed its 8th driver. What a shame. What a shame for Maxime Bulio, but we go back to the front nonetheless, as there's a brief yellow flag in Sector 3. Hopefully no one else is out of the race. Laho still leads Joseph Herlock by about 0.6 of a second. As you were saying, Carlos, I guess it's just about piling that pressure on, keeping that pressure on Alex Laho if Herlock wants to take his first win.
Yeah, Alex has been soaking the pressure really, really good this season. I think the only mistake I can reckon from being under pressure was Silverstone in the very last lap, so you actually need to constantly be there applying this pressure. Really good from both of them, and I'm really happy for Joseph because he was showing a lot of speed at the beginning of the season, and they got a bit lost in the as we see both of them sliding there at the exit going into the castle section. So I'm very happy for them. I actually used to speak with them with the Ballet boys, especially with their team boss Massimiliano, and they are really cool people, good family. It is a team you also really want to be. As we see pitting now, I think it's Mateusz Tishan right now in the pits, probably repairing a missing tire. So it will take a bit of time, and he definitely wants to... we see Maxime back on track? Wait, was he able to reconnect? Oh, wow, I didn't expect this. Well, this is good news for him. He will try to finish the race with at least 1 point. He acknowledges how important it is for the team's championship to actually even bring 1 point, and that's why Mateusz Pishan is also repairing in the pits. Important to take care of the engine in the pits if you stay for so long. You can see Joseph slowly applying more pressure on Alex. Last lap 44.6, and as a reference, Dragoon 44.6, Fido 44.3. So maybe Alex knows that he needs to either save tires and maybe concede the position for now and maybe go for it at the end, or he's starting to struggle. As we see Joseph losing the rear a bit, so he's definitely not full comfortable, Joseph, right now, being in terms of driving. Surely he's completely fine being behind Alex, but we can see that his car is not completely settled. It's not completely where it should be. So maybe both of them are suffering with the tires already, because we can see some drivers are starting to be faster than what both of them are, and it's normal when you are in the DRS from a driver in front. You do one good lap, you do one bad lap, just because of how the dirty air interacts with you. If you end up the lap really close to Alex, you eventually will lose in that lap, and if you're a bit further, you will eventually win. And so basically they are carrying over the pace that what Alex is applying right now. If you are Joseph, I think you're fine. You are cool. If you think you have a chance to overtake, you still want to wait and maybe just mix up things when there is 3 laps to go. You don't want to mix up things too soon unless Alex's pace drops massively, because you don't want to give the chance to Jan Dragoon to actually attack you and to not have the chance to attack Alex because Jan Dragoon is attacking you. So I think smartly the best decision is to stay calm, stay behind, and let's give it a chance, let's give it a shot at the end of the race.
But we'll have to wait and see what is going to happen with that one. Great to see that Maxime Bühler was able to rejoin the race. Again, if you're quick with a disconnect, you are allowed to rejoin the race. It's just that you'd carry on the lap that you were. So that's why Maxime Bühler is now a lap down. It seems that Pishkan came into the pits on 3 wheels as well. So we missed that one, but looks like he had a bit of a negotiation with the wall, came out on the wrong side of it, but was able to make it back to pit lane, get the car repaired, and head back out onto the circuit. So as there we see a battle then for the final points paying position. 1 point on offer between Pishkan and Bühler. Bühler, of course, was running a lot further up the field, so you'd expect for them to be a little bit faster. And there we can see Mathieu Pishkan with 3 wheels on the wagon. That'll be why they had to come back into the pits then. Pretty self-explanatory, that one, letting the other cars go by very nicely. As there we see Saracino and Pishkan as well. Pishkan, of course, is a lap down. Saracino is not. So Giuseppe Saracino, yeah, he's
Julio is
a little
right
bit
behind
in front.
him. Julio is right behind him for the fight for the last point. So this will be an intense fight because Julio showed a lot of pace during the whole race. He has a bit of older tires, but he will give a fight for the position with Pishkan. As we see an overtake from Renko to Jan Sikora. Well, Sikora is actually defending from it, and Remco will actually have the chance in these upcoming laps. It is a shame because Maxime should be in this exact position, but I'm sure he will have more chances in the upcoming races.
Absolutely. Again, looking at the lap times, it's all been very, very steady away. We're some way away from the lap record. This was a 139. A 138, even a 138.5 set by Matthew Williams back in 2019. We're currently running the 143s for the fastest laps from our top drivers. They're some way off the lap record. But as we continue to go around on board with Remco de Gio in the Fusion Racing car, we're not long left on the clock. Lap 34 of 42, probably soon to be 35 of 42. And well, Remco de Gio is pushing to try and get through on Jan Sikora, but just currently unable to really find a gap, find a way through. Of course, we'll have the DRS, we'll have push to pass and all of that. But is it enough to try and negotiate their way around the TTF car? Looks very tidy out of the penultimate corner into the last real corner on the circuit. If you get a good run out of here, you've got a great opportunity for an overtake. Remco de Gio is already gaining, so that's a good sign. But actually had a little bit of a lift there, a bit of a confidence lift into the left. So I think this time, once again, Jan Sikora will be holding on to that P9. Up the front, meanwhile, Carlos, Joseph Herlock's dropped back a little bit. He's now almost outside of DRS range from Alex Laho. As Remco de Gio is unable to find a way past Jan Sikora, Maxime Bühler should be able to find a way through on Mathieu Pishkan for the final points paying position. Pishkan goes very, very defensive, swerves this way and that way, but Bühler, forced to go the long way around, should get it done on the brakes. And will get it done on the brakes, maybe not quite, has to back out of it to avoid the barrier, so they're still side by side. Coming into turn number 2, Pishkan with the inside, Bühler to the outside, Bühler gets squeezed by the True North driver onto the second DRS straight. What can Maxime Bühler do? Maybe dummies to the outside. Yes, wonderful dummy to the outside. Looks to the inside. Will have the inside line. But still, Mathieu Pishkan holds that inside coming into turn number 4 as they're almost touching once again. There we see. That was Pishkan getting all sorts of squirrely, and they're still neck and neck, and they're still neck and neck and coming together. This has been half a lap now. Baby, my heart's beating out of samba. This is brilliant racing here at Baku for the final points paying position. The two drivers who are a lap down are giving it all and then some for one solitary point. This is how much it means in GPVWC Superlights. as Pishkan and Bulio leave it all out on the racetrack. Maciu's Pishkan ultimately holds on, but that, Carlos, was some fantastic action.
Yes, and we can see also at the same time Alex Lehoux, fastest lap of the race. Probably he decided, okay, this is the moment to pump everything I've got of push to pass, try to open a gap and see if you can react to that. And if Joseph is not able to react to that, race is done. The race is done. He saved everything of push to pass for it, and now we can have maybe another chance for Maxime in the upcoming laps for trying to do an overtake. Wow, what a battle it was, and I want to see more from it.
Oh, we all absolutely do. We're going to go again on this occasion. So Bulio not side by side down into turn 1 or 2, gets the DRS out of turn 2. Is there enough in the tank for Maxime Bulio? Is there enough push to pass left? Doesn't dummy to the inside this time, gets very close, but happy filling the mirrors of the True North car. Once again, just unable to negotiate their way through. Maybe Bulio taking a different approach, a different tactic, happy to sit back for the time being. And, well, very liberal view on track limits, that one there from Maxime Bulio. That was definitely a corner cut if I've ever seen one. Sorry to be a snitch on the Canadian, but come on, guys. There's rules in racing for a reason. Castle section now, definitely not an overtaking point through here. Maybe afterwards, though, if you're feeling really, really brave. Look how close Bulio's almost pushing Pishkan across the racing surface. These two couldn't fit a razor blade between them as they fly through the back section into the penultimate corner, probably the trickiest corner on the circuit outside of the castle section. Now coming down into the what is realistically the final turn, and Bulio looking very, very close indeed this time. Surely with the DRS, surely with a bit of push to pass, it's the Canadians for the taking. It's taken a lap to set up this move. But finally, surely it is time for Maxime Bulio to work their way back into the points. DRS open, pulls to the outside, Pishkan can do nothing to defend, but there was once again a bit of an internet issue there for Maxime Bulio. Teleported some way across the racetrack and had to back out of it as a result. Still in the fight though. But that was definitely an easy move there if I've ever seen one. Just didn't come into fruition. Lap 37 of 42. You got to think on pace alone, Carlos, Maxime Bulio can get on through, but just not quite able to find a way through Maciu's Pishkan so far.
Well, I think he has the pace and he has everything he needs to actually overtake him. The only issue is that he's on the soft compound, and whereas Pishkan is on the medium compound right now. So definitely every lap it goes, he will have less and less advantage compared to his fellow comrade Canadian, because this is the battle of the north, might we say. Even we are here in Baku. Well, sorry, the battle between the Canadian driver and the Canadian team. Sorry, I just messed up the things. So I think he will still have some chances, but he cannot slip on it, and he needs to take into account that he is actually lapped, so he will not go until lap 42. So he needs to acknowledge that for his own case. Coming into the straight line, he is on a 5/10 gap. He will be really tight to actually do an overtake. It will depend on if he has push to pass available. I think he will wait another lap to actually make the tempo, as we see that the gap is actually increasing between Pishkan and Bulio. Right now, heading into turn 1, he will need to wait an extra lap for it. While we have this, we can see Fidok is closing up on Jan Dragoon. The gap between them right now is barely 1 second. The gap previously, in some laps ago, it was 3 seconds. So definitely Fidok is catching on those drivers, and maybe he will have a chance for overtaking. And another update is that Jack Mayer is 3 seconds far behind from Sandeep Singh right now, 2.6 at this current moment. So it will be really tight between them in the last laps, who will take this final 6th position in this race, in this particular race. So I'm not sure if this strategy paid off for Jack, because we can see where Thomas is right now. He is 10 seconds ahead of Jack Mayer, who were together basically when they were in the first stint. It was shown that Lehoux and Joseph had a bit of an edge compared to the rest of the field, like they did in Monza. I think Maxime right now is starting to feel the tire wear right now, and probably he will have lesser chances to take this extra point, but you never can give up, because an incident can happen at any point at Baku, especially when you relax too much.
It absolutely can. Well, let's hope that isn't going to be the case on this occasion. Only a handful of laps away from the end of the race then. And well, Alex Lehoux has built up a comfortable lead now ahead of Joseph Herlock. He seems set to take his 7th win of the season. If Sandeep Singh finishes where he is, Alex Lehoux will not be champion, but he will be putting one hand on the trophy, and Rotor Formula will be teams champions as well, which is of course a massive, massive achievement for them. 2nd year in a row. But still, race has got to finish first. Got to wait till the checkered flag falls. Ain't over till the fat lady sings. And all of that nonsense. Buehler still pushing very, very hard, chasing down Pishkamp. Just still not quite able to find a way through. There is Jan Dragoon. Under some big pressure from David Feiduck now. Maybe Carlos. We could be seeing some changes for the podium places late in the race, because we know how fast Feiduck is late in a race. Can Jan Dragoon hold on in that Drake racing car? What a performance it has been from the Czech driver. It'll be his first podium since we were in Germany some time ago. And well, it would be a phenomenal result for Drake Racing if he's able to hold on there.
Yeah, definitely. I think Feiduck has gone for this strategy of playing for the long run, trying to take care more of the tires and everything. And he also pitted a bit later than Jan Dragoon, so it will depend here on how many seconds of push to pass Jan Dragoon has available right now. I think Feiduck has quite an edge right now to actually achieve this podium right now, and he will have a great opportunity in the upcoming laps to actually do the move. And we can visually see here, it is really clear that he has way more pace than the Czech driver right now, as we see a lapped car in front. They go through both without any kind of issues. They head up into the last section of the track.
Wait. What's happened to Joseph Herlock? Herlock's down in P4.
Oh wait, that yellow car was Herlock.
That was Herlock.
Oh no. Oh wait, he's hit the wall. Oh no.
Unbelievable. More late drama. Italian hearts crushed as late in the race Joseph Herlock finds the barrier. And they could be dropping out of the points, let alone out of the podium positions.
Oh no.
What happened to the Englishman? He was running P2.
Was it the castle?
It must have been. He was so solid all race long. Let's see what happened. Joseph,
man.
He's lucky he's not out of the race.
Yes. He's actually lucky he's not out of the race, and also lucky the drivers that were coming back behind him, because they didn't collect him in this section that is extremely tight. And we can see here the suspension damage he's actually suffering right now. Also, just to note, Maxime Buehler is ahead of Pishan right now. We don't know if he actually overtook him on track, as we see Kutka taking the fastest lap from Alex Lehoux. So Alex has right now 2 laps to actually try to improve his lap, although I think it's pretty impossible for him, since Kutka did a 42.9 right now. And we can see Feiduck just applying the pressure right now for a P2, for a net P2 here in the Baku Grand Prix. The other day I was joking around that maybe it's not the Baku street circuit, it's maybe the Baku straight circuit, because there is so many straights, just sorry for the joke. But here we are heading into the last braking zone. It will not be easy for David because he's having way more wings, way more downforce and way more drag than Jan Dragoon. And he will try to make the move now. He's a bit far behind to actually pull the move. He's 6/10 behind, almost 7. And I think at this point, if Jan Dragoon is using push to pass, there is nothing he can do right now. And he will really need to actually try to do a last attempt over the line, because there is not many overtaking chances anymore as we are starting the last lap of the race. Alex Lehoux leading the race by 7 seconds. Their main competitors, the both Bale, out of the positions they should be right now in P11 and D and F. As we see, David Fabian, maybe he needs to do a fancy move. He maybe needs to do an not orthodox move to actually overtake Jan Dragoon. Maybe, ooh, he goes a bit wide here. Maybe you can do a little dive in this corner, but I think it's very dangerous. It's the only occasion he can actually make it right now. As we see, Jan Dragoon trying to save this P2, really important for the driver's standings, and he will have maybe a really last chance right now in any braking zone that is remaining, because I don't think he will be able to get him under the line. As they head up into the last braking zone, Jan Dragoon actually ahead and clear right now of David Faidok, and Alex Lehoux will win the race. Faidok is quite close, 4/10 is an attacking range, but I don't think over the line, as Alex Lehoux will win this race, and we will be able to see if he's able to pull the move. Alex wins the race, wins the Baku Grand Prix, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. As we see, he will lack a bit of meters, and Jan Dragoon takes P2 from David Faidok, P3, and Thomas Harvey, the substitution of Vincent Gott, takes P4 for Spark Racing. Sandeep Singh takes a P5, just damage limitation for the Road to Formula team boss, and Jack Mayer with the two-stopper finishes in P6. Oliver Taras, substitution for Redven, finishing P7. Really good result for Oliver. He was a main FS2 driver for the whole season, and now he's giving his tries in FS1 and SL2. Really, we can see how happy Alex Lehoux is right now, celebrating this race victory. He had to fight for it, and he had to survive for it. He actually pulled away from Joseph Harlock, applied the pressure, and Joseph made a mistake and eventually finished P10. And we can see finishing the point zone, Gaia P11, Perseus Miriam P12, Saracino P13, Kutka P14, and closing up the point zones, Maxim Bulio, even with a disconnection, P15. So Ross, what's your opinion of the race?
Well, a thoroughly entertaining affair from start to finish. Alex Lehoux takes victory from Jan Dragoon and David Faidok, and while it may have been not Sandeep Singh's finest performance, it is 2 in a row for Road to Formula Racing, back-to-back Superlights Teams champion. A huge congratulations to the squad. What a performance from them. Of course, your heart has to go out to Spark Racing, who gave it all they could in the Teams Championship. Your heart has to go out for the Valet Racing squad as well. From what started off as a great race for them, turned into a day to forget across the course of the evening. But man, oh man, what an evening of racing it has just been. Baku, as always, has delivered, and it has been a very enjoyable affair. And well, I said it, Carlos. I said Alex Lehoux was going to win this race. That's all I'm saying. I'm smarter than a Super League driver. Just saying it now.
You should race in Super League, or at least
be
the team boss of of a Super League team. You could hire good drivers. I'm sure you have the knowledge. You are a person that attracts the good things to you. So you probably could sign really good drivers for you.
I'll sign you, Carlos. How does that sound? Let's do a deal. Let's do a deal for next year. I'll talk to you afterwards. But yeah,
wow.
what a great, what a great race we've just had here in Baku as the drivers making their way back to the pit lane. Again, a huge congratulations to the Road to Formula guys. Their second teams championship in a row, 2023 and 2024, back to back. Of course, Alex Laho did not claim the Drivers' Championship today, but it is very much one hand on the trophy for the Frenchman now, and he just needs to have a strong enough end to the season to make 2024 his. But there you can see celebrations for Road to Formula. A well-deserved win for them. What a season it has been for that squad. A great year. Once again, they dominated last year with Owen McGorgy, and this year it's been a similar story with Alex Laho and Sandeep Singh, of course. And boy,
You want
oh boy,
to think they will promote to
deserve it.
Super League this year, right? I
Well,
think
you'd like to think so, wouldn't you? You'd like to think so, but everyone thought they were going to do that this year as well, and they didn't. So who knows? Maybe they're enjoying life in Superlights. It's anyone's guess, but yeah, what a great performance from them once again, as Alex Laho breaks every regulation known to man and also messes up the drift and backs it into the wall instead of getting into his pit box. But it's Road to
wouldn't be
Formula.
Alex without hitting
Yeah.
the wall.
That is very, very true. Managed to avoid it all race long, so it was about time that he did it at some point today. But Road to Formula, once again in 2024, they are your Superlights Teams champion. A huge, huge congratulations to them. And, well, once again, what a race there. What a race we've just seen, Carlos. 3 races left to go in 2024.
Yeah, there is not much to go. Last year, Road to Formula won the team's championship within 2 races to go, and now they win it within 3 races to go. So you can argue that maybe Alex is better than Owen McGaugy. Maybe, who knows? That's something we maybe can see next year if Road to Formula decides to keep on with Superlights, or if they decide to move on to Super League. I think it is fair to think that they will do it with Alex Lehu and Sandeep Singh. It's what they deserve, but that's part of the off season and the rumoring that might happen. So maybe we need to do like a movement to the GPVWC Discord because we had some issues during the preview to the stream. So maybe we need to move to do the interviews. Shall we try?
Yeah, let's try. Give us a brief second of silence while we hop over into the correct Discord
Or maybe
server.
mess.
Earlier. And then so give us a 30, not even 30 seconds, but we'll try. So let's hop over now very quickly.
Okay,
And I
shall
believe
we?
we're back.
Yeah, we are
Yes.
back. Shall we drop in the constructors winners, Road to Formulas, both of them?
Yes, that is a great idea. Both of them are waiting for the interview room. So, first of all, Sandeep Singh, Alex Laho, congratulations for the second year running. Road to Formula are teams champions in Superlights. That's got to be a pretty special feeling.
So, hi. Sorry, I'm dying.
Yeah, he's dying.
Clearly a very special feeling then.
Is that the consequence of hitting the wall in the pits, Alex?
Yeah, brain damage.
Yeah, I could guess. So maybe Sandeep can talk us through how the season went, and maybe what was the difference between this year and last year, and what can we expect from Road to Formula for next season?
This season went well because we won.
Oh God.
I don't know what else can we say. Difference between what What was the question again?
Yeah, what was mainly the difference between this year and last year? This year you won the championship within 3 races to go. Last year you won it within 2 races to go. So can we argue maybe this year's team is better than last year's?
Owen disconnected last season a couple of races, so should have been wrapped up earlier. That was the difference. Alex never disconnected, Owen did.
And Owen is English, so he's slower by definition. Just kidding, just kidding.
Nice.
Just kidding. Don't hit me for that.
Whoa,
Don't hit me for that. Hey, whoa, whoa.
All season long, Alex Lowe, you come out with that.
I'm sorry for my driver's racism. Yeah.
I think if any of the GPVWC stewards are listening, I think that's banned for the remainder of the season. Dock all his points.
Oh no!
You can't be having that in GPVWC.
It's a silly little joke. Congrats to I think it was Dragoon in P2 and Firedog P3.
Dragoon and Fire,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, nice for them to them. I need to check the race again to see if there was like incidents and stuff. Like
There
the
were some.
incident with my
Firedog-
friend's example. I don't think I have anything to do with it, but yeah, that's aside. I just want to thank Sandeep first of all for offering me to join this team, and the guys in the back just helping out with setup, helping out with everything else besides setup, and just regular things. So I don't think it would have. I don't think a season like this would have happened if I didn't make the bold move to go to R2F. So thank you again.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
no.
God, this is very professional interview here.
Where's
Celebratory
we are
music.
the champions. This sucks. It's not even here.
You need to keep a professional language here, Sandeep.
I'm
You
not
cannot
swearing.
do. Yeah,
You did
well,
swear,
Wait,
to be fair.
What did the soundboard say? Was there swearing in there? I had it
Anyway-
actually muted. But
part of the question was, what is the plan for next season, Sandeep?
Super League.
Cool.
That was pretty concise, so that's definitely happening, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
before we forget, we gotta thank Harry. Alex, you didn't thank Harry.
Oh yeah, for the car, Harry.
Yeah.
Most
being
important as well, and
being the most efficient.
and also being
yeah.
a Spain
efficient,
reserve,
the best test
Epic
driver
Spain
we've
reserve.
had.
epic Spain reserve, race
Yep.
leader as well. Incredible guy. And he's English. Oh.
Yeah, I need to talk to him because I will gift him the car for one of the last races as well.
Yeah, might be.
Whichever one he wants to drive.
That's really cool. Thank you for the interview. The road to Formula drivers, the teams constructors champions from this Superlight season, and we shall wait a bit more for the drivers champion. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Sandeep, for the
Has he
interview.
not won yet?
He's
No.
not, no.
Wait,
What you
Oh
mean?
God,
No, he's
Hang
not
on.
one.
he's not. He's not the
won.
drivers champion yet.
Oh, what's the gap?
oh no, I mean
The gap is about 60 points, 60,
Yeah,
it is 60.
something.
Yeah, but Sandy, basically, if you don't outscore Alex next race by a considerable margin, he is champion, but he's not champion yet.
Oh no.
I mean, you can bring back 2023 Alex Lewall and then win the championship.
What we got? Singapore, Kota, Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil rain, Singapore Wall, and then Austin.
I think for Singapore we will actually test a little bit more than a day. Maybe
Interesting.
2 days. But we got, I mean, the setup is freaking shocking. Other than understeer, oversteer. I don't know what enough that railroad was. It looked like it was green rubber. It didn't look like there was anything there. Alex felt the same. We were lapping about half a second off what we were doing in testing.
Yeah, track was
So-
weird today.
Something needs to be looked at by GPV because that was, it's not just in our series. It was in FS1. They had issues with railroads, but yeah, it was shocking.
Well,
Thank
I'd
you
love to
for the
stay and
input.
chat. Yeah, I'd love to stay and chat to you guys some more, but we do have some other people still waiting for an interview, so I think we might have to say goodbye looking at the time and how much time we got left. And well, Alex has already just decided to go away, but well, we'll say thank you to you anyway, Sandeep, and again, congratulations, back-to-back Superlights champions for the team.
Thank you.
Well, that was an interesting interview to say the least, Carlos. Yeah, clearly the team delighted with another great performance.
Yes, and now I think it's time to bring David here. Hello, David.
Hello.
Tell us a bit. How was the race with such a high downforce setup in your end? Because you were probably racing about rear wing 4 to 5 maybe, and I think that was giving you some benefits and some drawbacks. Explain us a bit about that.
Sadly, it wasn't 4 or 5. It's just a bad. I don't know how to say it. Not bad, but I was the car, considering all the low speed corners, I set the car up more for tire wear race stints. So you probably noticed beginning of the stints I wasn't too good, but at middle to the end I was really quick and catching people like a good second a lap sometimes. Yeah, I mean it wasn't too far away in terms of wing. I just set some things up different to protect the tires more. So yeah, it was more of a plan than a wrong decision.
Mm-hmm. Cool. That's good to hear because you were almost able to get that P2 from Jan Dragun, and overall a podium is a great result. What can we expect from the very last races of the season? What can we expect from David Fidok?
Uzi. Yeah, nearly at Jan. Yeah. Sadly, the middle. I don't know if it was on stream or not, but the middle of that last stint, that left-right chicane before the set the 1 line, I clipped the wall and had a half spin, overcooked the tires a bit. No damage, thankfully, but it made the last 12 laps really tricky to slow the car down, and I wasn't as quick as I should have been. But yeah, would have, could have, should have. But yeah, these are the hard tracks out the way for us now with the drag. Monza and Baku. Singapore should be really nice for us. I don't know what's after that, to be honest. Brazil. Any idea what else we got?
Singapore, Austin, and Brazil.
Okay, so yeah, apart from Austin, yeah, we should be a bit more competitive. Yeah, so hopefully for a stronger end to the season. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Yeah, I mean, I could have gone lower on the wings, but then tire wear would have been worse. So, you know, it's one of them decisions. I knew the field spread would be bigger here, considering the nature of the track. So, I just went with what I felt comfortable with. So yeah, not too bad.
We're glad you're happy with the performance from today and the result from today. And I don't know if Rose wants to ask you any question regarding the race or regarding the season.
No, I mean, you know, it was another classic David Fidok performance, just putting in another solid shift and getting a very strong result at the end. I don't really know what else there is to say from me. Just another great drive. Well done.
Classic Dave, slow and steady. Yeah, cheers.
I wouldn't say slow. I'd say fast and steady. You know, it was another strong position.
Yeah, well, considering I nearly smashed it in the wall the first lap twice, I'm lucky.
Oh, it happens. It happens.
Was it on stream? My teammate nearly ended my race, or
not quite on
no?
stream? I don't think.
Okay, yeah. Well, oh god, I don't know. 10 laps to the end, he went to slow down to give me DRS, and he smashed into the wall and nearly took me out. So, yay! Good fun. Oh, I've bored everyone. Hey.
Sorry, it's just been a long day. Sorry, David. Brilliant. Well, awesome stuff out there. Yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly happy to leave it there unless Carlos has any other questions.
No, I think the only interesting question I think I will ask it in the last race of the season regarding the future and everything. I think it's maybe better to wait a bit more. but I will save it for Brazil. So I hope you can jump to the broadcast interviews in Brazil, David.
Cool. I already know the answer, but yeah, if you want to save it for then.
Oh, sure. Then go ahead.
With the way the kids are and my wife's work hours, I'll be staying in lights, so there's no chance of getting back in Super League yet. Hopefully middle of next year, maybe. But for now, it'll definitely be lights for the next season.
With the same team?
Dun dun dun. I don't know. I gotta talk to people and see what I'm allowed to say.
Cool. Good to know. Take care, David, and have a good night.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Are you up for a last interview, Ross, or are we done for today?
We'll grab Thomas, and we've just about got time to speak to Thomas quickly. Thomas, if you can hear us, well, that was a drive and a half. Talk us through it.
It was a fairly average drive, really. I mean, it was a decent drive. I mean, considering I hadn't driven the car before, like today. I mean, the Super League car is fairly similar, to be honest with you. So it's not like it's like a whole different thing, to be fair. But yeah, no, it was. It went a bit better than I expected, for sure. Like I was looking and thinking, probably get like try and get inside the top 10, and then I get into qualifying, and for whatever reason, like I was thinking I'm going to be way off in quality, but then when I got in the server, I was kind of on the pace. So yeah, I think I didn't really get lapped in the actual quality session. Like sector 1 was a bit off, to be honest with you, but it was decent enough, and yeah, it got me P6, so I was happy with that. Jack from P8 managed to overtake me at the start. He's just always got rocket starts for whatever reason, and yeah, so I wasn't going to fight that at all with him. But settled into the race, ended up having a bit better race pace than him, and he sort of switched strategy. Well, he didn't switch strategy. He planned to do the 2-stop because just felt like that was better for him, and I felt going through the stint that 1-stop was better for me because it just like the rears were just not wearing that much, so it seemed like a little bit faster strategy for me. So I stayed out, and I didn't really have the soft pace stint though as it went on. Like they kind of dropped me quite a bit, and then I went a lap later as well than most people to make sure I'd be fine on the mediums because I didn't have a lot of data I never really pushed into the limits, so sort of going in the blind a little bit. So I went a bit cautious with the strategy. I don't think there's anything I really could have done because again my soft pace just wasn't really good enough to keep people towards the end of the stint. I closed in a tad on the guys ahead towards the end of the medium stint, but marginally. I think I was like 4 seconds off. So yeah, no, P4 was the maximum. Joseph Hurlock going off as well helped. But to be honest with you, after I passed Jack, it was an extremely lonely race. There's not much to talk about in terms of that. Just a decent drive and yeah, decent points for the team.
Yeah, fair enough. Very well put. I mean, only other question really is, can we expect to see a bit more of you in Superlights this season, or is it a one and done kind of affair?
This is a one-off affair because Vincent is off, not in the country, so he couldn't race. So yeah, just putting in for the one race to make sure that Spark still gets a decent result in the constructors, because obviously they need to make sure this can consolidate P2. That's what I was here for, basically. It was good fun, but then again, also not the most interesting race, to be honest, from my point of view. It was just sort of a case of just managing it and yeah, bringing out a decent position. So yeah, what I did.
No, fair enough, Thomas. Well, thanks very much for talking to us. Sorry it's so short and sweet, but we are running out of time a little bit. Great race today. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all we've got time for with our interviews, unfortunately. But great to hear from all of our drivers, and especially the once again team's champion of Superlights Road to Formula Racing, Carlos Martin. We've had the team's championship done and dusted. The drivers' championship is heading that way. 3 rounds left this season. What can we expect?
Well, we can expect really strong performances from Bale. I think Bale is right now nailing what they need to do, and I'm very sure they will take a race victory if I don't jinx them anymore in the coming races. So we can see probably Road to Formula trying really hard to just secure the title from Alex, and I think the last two races it can be a bit messy, which is when the teams start to think more about what the 2025 season can bring on. So I think a lot of craziness can happen in the coming races.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Thanks very much for joining us once again here at GPVWC Superlights. A great race. Of course, a big thank you to Carlos Martin alongside me and Fabian Jungbluth doing a spectacular job on the cameras as always. Of course, on Thursday, you can see Carlos and some other random drivers racing in this thing called the Super League. Don't know what that's about. We'll be back though in 2 weeks' time. We're heading to Singapore, Marina Bay Street Circuit. We'll see you there.